When I first saw the official photo of the Halo series, I was remiss. I was not impressed with how it looked. And then the first teaser trailer came out. And even then, I was still hesitant, skeptical even, to the point that I can't even look forward to the show. But now that the full-on trailer has come out, and of course, knowing that this is not technically canon, but rather a silver timeline as 343 likes to put it. Regardless of how they want to phrase it, it is not going to be a direct adaptation of the original video games. And after giving time to let the whole concept sink in, and watching the full-on trailer of this show, I've realized that this is possibly the best decision they could have made for this TV show. When I first heard about that, the fact that they're not even going to follow the books or much of anything really, and make their own storyline, at first I was like everyone else. I was wondering why. I was wondering what kind of foolish decision is this? But then watching this trailer has finally convinced me that by keeping this non-canon, it is the best decision Paramount and the production behind this show could ever make. The first teaser trailer that came out in late 2021 wasn't the best teaser trailer they could have ever released. With the only highlight that I can recall right now is that picturesque shot of High Charity, especially with that sound cue accentuating the scale of it. But everything else looked quite watered down, and it just reminded me of those Star Trek TV shows that are currently out right now. Basically, it was very underwhelming. There are some shots that look small scale, and Cortana, man, oh boy. It was like they were trying to make her into a real person at the same time being this AI construct, and by blending the two together, it just doesn't look right. It's either one or the other. They just can't make the two mesh together and work. As for Master Chief, the proportions are not exactly right. It still looks like a guy in a suit, and I think the only way to really pull Master Chief off is to have a full CGI replacement and making him the best looking CGI replacement there can be. I just don't think it is physically possible to pull off Master Chief in real life because of the proportions, because the size of Master Chief is extraordinary compared to even the largest guy we can find. And of course that does boil down because of budgetary reasons, and that is why it was the best option to make this a non-canon series, because even the most expensive TV shows still cannot match the large scale that a major blockbuster could. We're all well aware that there was supposed to be a movie based on Halo, but because of the constant exchange of hands, scriptwriters, directors coming in and out over and over again, a Halo movie has essentially become dead in the water. And one of the major reasons why is because of how extraordinarily expensive it was going to be. Is that a good reason now? I don't think so. But I believe that they're doing a TV show first, and not a very expensive one at that, is because they're trying to test out the waters. Essentially trying to play it safe, because I don't think they're willing to afford that big of a budget to a video game adaptation like Halo, because they're afraid that it might falter. So they decided to give it the TV show treatment, to test out the waters and see how not just the Halo fanbase will react, but how the general audience will receive it. Which is why it was the best call to make this TV show non-canon, because they are essentially trying to accommodate the large scale of the Halo series into a budget that they can afford. Plus, it does give them leeway to deviate from the original properties without facing massive repercussions from the Halo fanbase. In fact, I have to respect that. They could have just gone without saying anything about it being a different timeline and just say, oh, this is going to be a true Halo adaptation. But they didn't. They were very transparent with the fact that this is not going to be like the Halo that we grew up with, the Halo that we adore. It's going to be a different take of it, and that gives them creative liberty to take necessary risks to see what works and what will not, so that in the long run, they might actually bite the bullet and make a big budget Halo film. So I'm relatively content with the direction they are going with, because now I can have a different set of expectations than the one I had before. The one I had before was much like everyone else, a true adaptation of the original Halo trilogy. But they are not, and they admitted to it. Now of course that doesn't mean they had to stray too far away from their source material, but it does mean when they do deviate from the source material to a different direction, we will be a little bit more forgiving than if it was made to be a true adaptation. I mean, let's compare it to a different TV show. Game of Thrones. Try to look back into the first season of Game of Thrones and then go to the second one, the third one, the fourth one. Did you notice a massive gap of budget between the first season and the second season? Because I sure did when I was rewatching Game of Thrones. A stark difference between a critically acclaimed TV show with a modest budget to a season with a more cinematic quality because of the increase in budget, thanks very much in part of the popular reception it received. Which leads me to another point of speculation. I think they're going to try to experiment with this season of the Halo series, and if it does well for Paramount, if it actually becomes their big hit that they need, I suspect that they might eventually, in time, start to follow the original trilogy timeline. But of course, we're just gonna have to wait and see, to see for ourselves if their little plan, if their little experiment is going to work. Yes, Cortana does not look that great. Master Chief looks like it's a guy wearing a cosplay outfit. It is not the most expensive looking TV show we have seen. And the human who is a supporter of the Covenant or something like that, that works with the Covenant, I suspect that the reason for this specific character is that they're going to try to flesh out the Covenant and their stance and position in the war and everything, how it works, the hierarchy, the culture, whatever it is. But they're going to use a human as a vehicle for that because it is cost effective. It's an interesting spin, and I like to see more of it. I like to see what they do with it. Hopefully they won't mess that up, but I'm going to temper my expectations. But I think that what they have right now at least shows that they're trying something with it. So we should set ourselves in expectations that is realistic and be patient until the final release of the TV show. So what do you think? Let me know what you think in the comments. Thank you for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please click like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Take care.